Hajime boku wa JDs desu. Hey everyone out there in YouTube land looking to fix your oven. We're doing a voiceover recording because I couldn't record this and talk at the same time because of the environment. In the background you might hear my kids. I have the TV down, so hopefully y'all can't hear that. And let's get this started. It's about a 15-minute video. I'm gonna watch it at the same time we're recording here. And right now you're looking at an oven that has been cleaned. The top and bottom elements have burnt out. You can see the bottom one there really clearly. It burnt out, like it's missing because the oven was cleaned. Right here I'm testing out the what do you call them? Basically it's screwdrivers. You know, I have a socketed screwdriver, so there you go. I'm testing out which ones will fit the screws that I've got to remove. There will be attachment screws. That's right there is the element, what I just touched. That's what it's called, a heating element. That's the replacement. That's what it should look like, so you can see how much of it is missing. On the end there is where screws are. I'm pointing to the screws that are actually in the oven right now. So I'm going to remove those. That's the top element. It's the same thing on the top. That's what I'm pointing to there. There's a screw in the front that holds it up on both of those that I'm pointing to. So we're going to jump in. We're going to try to unscrew one. If I remember correctly, I had to readjust the camera angle, I think. In the bottom right hand side of the screen right there, that silver thing, that's my light. I brought a light because, you know, inside an oven's dark. This oven doesn't have a light. And when you pull this out, this element, you want to do it gently. You don't want to just jerk the thing out. There, in the back of it right there, I don't know if, like I tried to stay out of the camera's view angle. Right there, what I'm touching, those are the electrical lines, power line that goes, you know, that basically heats the element. I think I'm going to zoom in here. Yeah. So behind it, you'll see little lines there. You've got to connect those. You got to disconnect them, of course, from the bad element, and then you'll have to reconnect them to the new element. It's pretty much just a slip-on. It's a friction connector. You'll see I wiggle it off. You wanna keep them on the same side. I'm not sure if the polarity, you know, which side is on matters, but just emulate it. Take pictures if you need to. Take video like I did. It's pretty much the same thing. You wanna hook it up the same way you know. You want to reconnect it the same way you disconnected it. And it's just push on. There's no soldering. There's no screw there. It's a friction connector. If those are loose, you might need to replace it. I don't do that in this video because none of ours were loose or damaged. It's a fairly simple process to do it though. Alright, now you see there how the screw holes line up. And I'm going to pop the screw back in. Fixing the zoom. Now I may or may not edit it. It's just a 15-minute video, but I realize some people are impatient. I or somebody bumped the camera there. And screws are screws, you know, you're just putting a screw back in. You know how it works. Don't over twist it. You don't want to strip it. You want it to be hand tight. You don't want to use a power tool here because, you know, most likely it's an aluminum. It's aluminum on aluminum. So I mean, you can strip it easy. You want to get it in, but you don't want to overturn it, basically. And the process is going to be pretty much the same for the top. Well, it's exactly the same. It's just a little more difficult because the top one is suspended. Alright, this might be a part I edit because you can't see what I'm working on. The bottom one just lays there. It has the little pegs that stick down to support it. The top one is the one that actually is suspended. You know, it's held up. Yeah, this is definitely going to be edited. I'm all off center and everything. Lowering the camera. Now right here you're going to see the top. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. $7.20. 7 seconds off. You can see the top one was very damaged, you know, just like the bottom one. Now there's 3 screws on this one. The same 2 on the bottom that held the element against the back of the stove. There's a 3rd screw that actually holds the thermometer, I believe it is, that monitors, you know, the heat of the oven. You know, because it regulates it. If you set it to 400, you know, once it reaches 400, then of course, you know, it stops heating. When it drops below that, it heats it again to keep it at 400. If that thermometer's damaged, you'll need to replace it also, because otherwise, you know, your oven won't know when to stop heating the oven, so you won't have temperature control. I show you the thermometer here, but of course I don't replace it because it's not broken in this one. And I have 2 kids playing in the background giggling. Of course, if you're replacing a heating element, you most likely also have kids in the background. This screw, of course, is the you know, the one that holds the element to the top of the stove. On this one, there's 2 of those. In the description, there's going to be, you know, you'll need to find the model number of your stove. There's a sticker, typically in the door or on the side. They don't put them in. I mean, it's probably also in the back, but considering most ovens are secured, you know, the average user can't get to those, so they keep it also on the front of it somewhere. Typically, you can open the pan drawer, the bottom drawer, and it'll look there. I'll put a few pictures and examples of where to look for it. That dangling thing right there is the thermostat. That's how bad that old element was. Right in the center of it, right there, dangling down, that's the thermostat. And these are the same pressure connectors that were on the bottom that you put on first. And then, you know, the thermostat has to go in that little circle thing in the middle. There you go. I don't know the terms for these because I am not an oven technician. That's kind of the purpose of YouTube, though, I feel. Beyond entertainment is actually education. I can't teach you the terms, but I know how to do the simple part. Hook it up, fix it. You don't need to pay a guy, you know, $200 to come out to put in a $20 part. These elements, I think, I didn't purchase them. This is a family member's oven, but you know, I think they were $20-30 each. This is just alignment. You want to make sure that you get everything into the oven and, you know, back where it should be. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it alone, you know, have someone help you, have someone hold it in place. If you're replacing both elements like this one, do the top one first, like take the bottom one out and then put the top one in, like replace the top one first. That way you could use something, you know, to hold up the top element if you're alone. I didn't choose to do that here because, you know, I didn't feel the need. And of course you won't have to have a camera. You might need a light, of course, but you won't have to have a camera also set up there. Time mark 12:55. And the same here, you know, when you're putting the screws in, just get them in place first and then worry about tightening them tightening them down. And remember, you don't want to over tighten a screw ever, because then you're going to have to go find a larger screw, you know, bigger in diameter, so that it'll still hold it in. You know, that's a you know, a hard lesson to learn. And you're going to do it. I've done it. Everyone does it. You put a screw in and then, you know, you think it needs one more turn and then it just goes completely loose. The oven doesn't vibrate. You know, it's secured against the wall typically, so it won't even move. And just, it's not going to fall off by itself. So get the screw in hand tight, not too tight. And the best way to gauge it, because I don't really ever hear this when you're putting a screw in, no one ever really tells you, like, the best way to gauge it is put the screw in, and if it jiggles, if it's loose, then you can turn it again. But if you put it on there and you can not move the screw, it's tight enough. Now you might want to come back later just to make sure the screw hasn't fallen out. You know, check it. It's your oven. And that's pretty much it. You can feel free to email me or post in the comments any questions. I might not be able to answer them, but I'll try. But that's it. It's back together, and now you have working elements again. If you've been here this long, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you. Bye now.